This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Say PTBN, have you heard them yet? Oh, but they're so marked out. Jenny and the Jams. Oh, but they're weird and they're wonderful. Oh, Jenny, she's really clean. She's got electric boobs, the network too. You know I read it in the dirt. She's a hoe. Jenny and the Jams.
Hi, welcome to Jenny and the Gems. My name is Jenny, here with my gorgeous gems, Matt, and Drew, and Scott. How are you guys?
Doing okay.
Evening.
Shining bright like a diamond?
Sure, that's
better.
one way to describe it.
All right, well, tonight we are going to once again venture to the hidden gem section of the award-winning WWE Network. Now, listen, we have talked before about how hard it is to find these shows in the hidden gem section, and I just went through them all the subcategories, and the show is not in there. So you literally have to look it up. Just go to the search function and look up SummerSlam Spectacular 1993, because that's what we're doing tonight. Which one of us picked this show?
I think Suze, right?
Was it me? All right. I'll take your word
I
for
thought
it.
it was. I thought it was. You can take it.
All
Has
right.
anybody seen this one before?
Yes, I did. I remember watching it live. Yep.
I had not.
All right. So the SummerSlam Spectacular is kind of in the vein of what we've done before with like March to WrestleMania shows. So it's basically just a bunch of matches building up to SummerSlam. This was on, was it USA?
Yes.
The weekend before SummerSlam?
Yep. The week before that Sunday night, the 22nd. That year, SummerSlam was the 30th. And this was taped on a Monday Night Raw night, August 16th. So the previous Monday, this was taped from the Mid-Hudson Civic Center in Poughkeepsie, New York, otherwise known as an empty serial killer warehouse. Right up our alley. But yes, I think we were talking about this off air, and I think we mentioned this when we did the two Manias, starting with, if I remember correctly, I believe it started with the 89 Survivor Series. They started doing these like build shows, mostly to get the pay-per-view, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it would last for probably about 6 years. But some of them were, you know, a lot of cut and paste interviews. But I'm looking forward to tonight's because this one actually had some legitimately decent matches, which you normally don't get with these, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, I've watched several of these type of shows, and I really enjoy them. Like, I guess maybe
Yeah, me too.
for you guys, like, y'all already know, like, all the outcomes of the matches at the pay-per-views and shit, like, for the most part. Like, and I'm still, you know, like, I don't know this stuff off the top of my head, so to me, it's pretty fresh, and I enjoy watching these.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jenny, because this is a lot of the stuff I haven't seen, so it's pretty new and exciting, and you know, I can get hyped right along with the viewer, you know.
Isn't it fun to get something new and exciting from 1993?
Absolutely.
All right, so we start the show out with a video package about Yokozuna, who's our champ, and his upcoming match at SummerSlam, of course, and getting over how badass he is, and and his feud here with Jim Duggan. Our announcers are Jim Ross and Gorilla Monsoon. All right, off the top of the show, immediately they call focus to the call to action campaign. Their ties, they're wearing these ties. Somebody explain to me what this is and why I should care about it.
Drew.
So, the Lex Luger call to action campaign. That was what his big push was in the summer of 1993 after he turned face by body slamming Yokozuna on the Intrepid on the 4th of July. And he rode around the country in the Lex Express with a vague notion of calling America to action. And we never fully understood what that meant. But it was, I don't know, there's like notions of being more patriotic and America had lost its way. But yeah, the call to action campaign. And so, as you'll notice, so you have JR and Gorilla both wearing the USA ties. You've got, which, of course, I wore one of those to work today as well. And you've got. Of course
you did.
Of course, yes. You've got all the faces on the show. They're all wearing USA wristbands. And they'll point that out periodically on commentary, which I actually thought was a pretty cool idea. I think, again, with hindsight and knowing what happens at SummerSlam, it's, it kind of taints the whole thing. But theoretically, it's like a cool idea where you've got all the faces really rooting for the hometown hero, essentially, going into the pay-per-view. So I did think that was kind of cool.
Why isn't Hacksaw wearing any of those bands during this match?
Well, as we'll find out in 2000 in WCW, that he's actually a traitor and has been the whole time. So
it all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any thoughts about the call to action campaign? I love that it's vague and there is no action to speak of.
Well, take action. Come on, Jenny.
Just action some shit. Just
Lex Luger's calling. Take action.
Yeah.
Take action. Will you answer his call?
What do you mean, Lex Luger? Please explain.
So I'll say this, and we'll get into it more as we talk about Luger throughout the night here. But watching this call to action stuff makes the finish of SummerSlam '93 look even stupider in retrospect.
See, don't spoil
I'm
it.
not. I'm dancing around it.
Okay.
But
don't spoil this match from 1993, Matt.
Okay, I won't. I forgot that 27-year window's not closed yet.
Yes.
Too soon.
Spoiler windows are giant.
All right, so our first match is Yokozuna versus Jim Duggan. Of course, he gets a fantastic pop and does his normal Jim Duggan stuff. A long intro for Yokozuna as well, with geishas and flowers and whatnot. USA chants. Jim Ross and Gorilla talk about how brave Jim Duggan is, and for getting in the ring again with Yokozuna. How they just had a baby, like him and his wife. So very sweetness to start out. And then they just don't believe that Yoko weighs 568 pounds. Gorilla insists that he's over 600 pounds. Where y'all falling on the Yoko scale?
Well, I think it actually took him until 96 or 97 or something until he actually weighed over 600 pounds.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, I guess they're just trying to put over how big he is, but I don't know why they wouldn't just bill him as that anyways.
Yeah, why not?
I agree. But yeah, in reality, he didn't hit 6 bills till after he had already left the company.
Yeah.
Well, no, probably late 95, early 96.
Yeah, near the end he was.
Yeah, when he turns, he definitely hits that point. But no, now he's probably that weight's legit. He's probably in the 550s, 560s. But I don't know why they just say 600. Maybe so Gorilla has something to talk about. I don't know.
I guess so.
Maybe they were just covering for. I don't know who the ring announcer was, but maybe they were just covering for him. There, he was supposed to say weighing in at 600 pounds, but he didn't. I don't know.
Really, this is fairly basic match. Jim Duggan gets, punches and his normal offense. Fuji chokes Jim with the flag on the side there, like underneath the bottom rope. They talk about Jim and Gorilla talk about, will Cornette run in? They kind of tease a Cornette showing, which he actually doesn't show up. I was kind of surprised for that. Yoko, of course, with his ass-based offense, does everything with his ass for the most part, which is enjoyable to watch.
Well, I mean, to be fair, when you have an ass that big, wouldn't you
Why
use it
not?
as your offense?
Use it.
That's what I'm saying. They do these annoying commercial breaks in the middle of the matches as well. And Yoko is just like pouring sweat. Like, this goes a bit long. He is really struggling towards the end of this match. Jim Duggan tries to come back. He does some punches, clotheslines, and finally gets him down off his feet, which is quite a show. Duggan goes into his stance, but then Fuji pulls his foot out from under him, and Yoko attacks in the corner and then does the bonsai drop for the win. It was pretty basic, but a fun opener. Get the crowd going. I gave it 2.25 stars. Where are you at on this one, Scott?
I'll go 2.25 with you. Yoko was just such a great heel. I think he's, a lot of people, disparage this stretch in WWF history between 93 and 96, but one of the bright shining stars of this run was Yoko. What a heel. I mean, at a time when, they were in transition, Hogan gone and elevating Brett and kind of elevating the mid-card, Shawn and Razor and guys like that, even Diesel. Yoko was just this beacon of evil and so good, so good. Yes, he was definitely heaving, and the nerve pinches always are his spell to get some gas, to refill the tank. You could definitely tell Duggan was out of shape when when a guy who doesn't wear singlets starts wearing singlets. That kind of tells you what's going on. He's holding up the. He hasn't been going to the gym. He hasn't been on WBF Body Stars lately. Let's put it that way. But it was definitely. I'll say this, as much as everyone knows my feelings on WWF Duggan. He is a guy that beating him really did help Yoko in the grand scheme of things, because Duggan legit, U.S. patriotic. The character was awesome, and the crowd loved him. So Yoko just burying him here was just so great, and kept the momentum going towards the big match the following week at the Palace. But 2.25, basic TV fare, but a good win for Yoko. He looked dominant.
You agree, Drew?
I do agree. Yeah. Smart way to put over the USA versus Japan feud. And I mean, like Scott said, Duggan is, because he's, he's a real fan favorite and still had some credibility, I guess, right?
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt.
It looked to me that he did.
No, he definitely still had it, yeah.
I really like Jim Duggan. I like him in Mid-South. I like him in WWF, and I even liked him in WCW. Like, it just, as just kind of a fun mid-card guy. I think he was always cool. I absolutely love anytime there's a spot where there's a big monster heel and the babyface has to do a series of like clotheslines or shoulder blocks or something to finally knock him over. I love that every time. So,
and Yoko does that so well.
Oh yeah.
So fun to watch him fall.
He really is great. Just so mean. His facial expressions. He's awesome. What a wrestler. Yeah. So this is cool. Good opener.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you guys said. Basic match, but it was super effective with Yoko getting a win over a guy like Duggan, who rarely lost on TV or house shows or anything. Every time he lost, it was count out or a DQ or something like that. And this ended up probably being a holiday for one Scott Criscuolo, because this would be Duggan's last appearance in the WWE until 2005. So,
wow.
22 years too late. 12 years too long. Or too short. How about 2000? Never. No. He was definitely on the way out. Those kind of guys were starting to kind of go by the wayside. 93, definitely a transition year for the WWF roster. And Duggan did, to his credit though, I will give him his due. He did do the right thing. He put over the champion. He put over the top heel strong. So I will give him that. As much as his mannerisms drive me up a wall, he did do the right thing. He blew his boogers and snots and all of his cross-eyed nonsense for the last time. So there you go. God, what a mess. Let's watch some Mid-South Duggan. All right, it's better. Anyway, good match though. Definitely effective.
All right, we join Vince McMahon in the locker room. He is talking to Cornette along with Yoko and Mr. Fuji. Cornette's really good here in his ketchup and mustard suit with a Marilyn Monroe face tie.
God, that suit was incredible.
Yes,
Yeah.
quite the look. He says that Yoko was whipped into a frenzy and that Lex had only himself to blame because he asked for this match. They do a lot of close-up camera on Yoko, looking mean and sweaty. Good promo. I enjoy Cornette. What do you guys think?
I was too distracted by the suit.
Oh, the suit was luscious.
That Marilyn Monroe tie. I mean,
It's fantastic.
that was a hell of a choice.
Yeah. No, that I have to say honestly, for me, maybe Cornette's best, not counting those shoot ones he did in like 97, 98, but this is probably, in my opinion, one of Cornette's best WWF promos. I mean,
Really?
I thought he was fired up. He was crisp. He was putting over that match. He was pretty much telling Drew's boy that he's cooked, that he's not going to win. He got it. He's getting his one shot and he's losing it. He was incredibly fired up. I think maybe it was the suit, but he was he maybe because he looked amazing while being amazing. But it was easily, in my opinion, one of Cornette's best WWF promos.
He really was channeling his time in the NWA here.
I agree.
Which
100%.
he did not very often in his WWF run.
No, he didn't.
But this was, just mean. And you know how he's got that cadence where he just keeps going and going and going and going.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's able to really. It's very impressive how he can just talk and talk and talk,
It
all
really
off
is.
the top of his head too. You know, but this was very, very good, very effective, mean sounding too. And then you have the contrast of him yelling and Yoko just standing there looking like a beast.
Yes.
Very good.
The only problem I had is it looked like they were in it didn't look like a locker room. It looked like a stairwell or like,
It's a hallway.
it was like, it was just a weird little spot.
Well, we are in
Very
Poughkeepsie. We were in the murder house
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
murder warehouse.
spot, so
That's right.
they're lucky that they weren't in the fucking bathroom doing the promo, so if they had any.
Gorilla and JR talk to us again and tell us they're going to show us a video recap with IRS and Ted DiBiase. So they show that from Raw, I guess. DiBiase is talking about how Razor Ramon would make a good servant, and then he tries to bribe Razor. Experiencing machismo. Why did I write that?
Really?
What an
I
out
see.
of context note. I have no idea. I guess I heard that at some point in this video package, but
I mean that sounds like a Vince line.
maybe Ted said it. I don't know.
Somebody, I know there was talk of machismo, so who knows?
There always
Of course
is.
there was. It was a Razor Ramon video.
I know.
Well, yeah, but
Experiencing machismo.
So they talk about how Ted had challenged the 1-2-3 kid to a match, which the kid ended up winning. So that didn't go over too well. Any thoughts about this whole deal?
I mean,
Nope.
it was pretty much just transition stuff to get Razor as a babyface at this point.
Mhm.
Right,
You know,
'cause
Ted's-
he had just turned, right?
Yeah, he had just turned. Because what happened was Razor lost to the kid on Raw back in May, I think.
Yeah, it was May.
Yeah, mid-May, I think. And so DiBiase had been ridiculing him, and that's what led to the DiBiase kid match that they showed. DiBiase's not too long. Well, no, he sticks around, I guess, but in ring he's almost done. But he sticks around for a few more years, but mostly in a managerial capacity. But otherwise, not much here. Just more to advance the Razor face turn. Excuse me. I'm allergic to machismo.
Apparently. You're experiencing it.
Wow. Whew. Sorry about that. I couldn't mute in time. Oh, the
All right.
machismo's all over here.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I was not ready for that. Okay. Next up, we have everybody's favorite Blake Beverly versus Razor Ramon. This is Mike Enos, correct?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Look at
Hey, I
you.
know things. Very importantly, off the top in commentary, we learned that Aaron Neville is going to sing the national anthem at SummerSlam. So I'm very fired up for that.
WCW's own Aaron Neville.
Exactly.
Gorilla was saying he was JR's pal. Gorilla's like, who the hell is this guy? I'm just
Like,
everything.
JR's like, he's great.
He's great.
Lots of Razor chants. Crowd loves him. Blake Beverly, what a name. Is
Man.
that like... What are we doing?
One of the bros.
Yeah.
One of the Beverly bros.
Blake and Bro. Blake and Bro. Blake and Bo.
Bro Beverly.
Blake and Bo Beverly.
Well, he tries. Blake tries. He gets a few good slaps and kicks in. Razor kind of chops him up with some stiff-looking chops there. Chases him to the outside. They end up in a headlock in the ring. Again, we're told about our call to some sort of indiscriminate action campaign. That Razor
Answer the call.
answer
Come
the
on.
call. I mean, like if I knew what the call was, then like maybe I could answer it, but it's all very vague. Beverly dumps Razor over the top rope to the floor. He removes the pad off the turnbuckle, gets a neck breaker, and then Razor gets slammed into that turnbuckle. Gets the backbreaker. There's a lot of offense by old Enos in this, more than I expected. But in the end, he fails and gets the Razor's edge and loses the match. I like this too. Pretty fun. Razor's always fun to watch, and it wasn't like a super like gross squash or anything. So I gave it another 2.25 stars. Where are you at on this one, Matt?
This felt like something you would have seen on Raw at the time, like a not really like a main event type of match, but like something in the mid card to eat up time. I thought it went a little too long. It goes like 7 minutes, which for a Blake Beverly singles match is kind of insane. But it was fine for what it was, I guess. I thought it was kind of weird that Beverly got that much offense in on Razor too. But yeah, it was fine for what it was, I suppose.
Yeah, again, not a lot to say. Razor has one of like my top 3 favorite looks in all of wrestling. Like he's so jacked. Like, the traps don't lie, as they say. But
no, they don't.
No, they don't. But he looks awesome. A little too long. Yeah, I think you're right, Matt. But yeah, this is just fine. It's so like it's hard to criticize these things because it's not, they serve a very simple purpose, and I think most of the time they achieve the goal. So
You agree, Scott?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I got not much more to say here. Typical TV fare. Razor looking strong. Crowd loves him. Loves the character. Yeah, nothing more to say. Just a solid semi-squash.
All right. There's a quick Yoko hype video, kind of, and then we get to the most important part. The first look at our Lex Express on the aforementioned summer tour, I suppose. Drew, would you like to talk about this?
So I didn't take notes. I don't remember specific. There's a few different
Are you kidding me
clips.
right now?
I don't
Are you
take
kidding
notes
me?
usually. Yeah. But no, so this is what we saw kind of throughout the show. We saw different clips of him. I think this was the one where he was signing some autographs for girls, and then it looked like maybe in New York City, and then he was like flexing with some young kid. Like there was a kid who maybe had a disability. He was flexing with that kid. I think this was the one where where he was surrounded by a group of small children, and he goes like, "Yeah, look at this," or some bizarre noise he makes. He's not very articulate, so he kind of mumbled, and then essentially forces the kids to all touch his biceps. And the theme throughout all of these clips of Luger, and it'll show him walking down walking down a walkway, and there's people on each side wanting him to give him five. He looks so unenthusiastic and borderline miserable doing all of this, which is part of the reason why none of this worked, is because he's not a likable person, and in real life he did not like shaking hands or giving high fives to people, and it really does come through.
It really does.
Yeah, when you're not selling it, I mean, and it sucks, Drew, because the guy, I mean, we've talked about this a billion times. We talked about it on the Saturday special with the doctor and I about Luger. He just wanted, give me the belt and move on. I don't need any of the storyline nonsense. Just let me beat Yoko and move on. I don't need any nonsense. And he realized that this isn't Crockett where you just wrestle matches and win belts and maybe cut a promo or two. Vince is going to make you need to be marketable because you need to sell shit. Crockett didn't care about selling stuff. He was not those days, even, slightly pre and just at the beginning of WCW, they never sold T-shirts. Their stuff was ugly let's be honest. A lot of the Crockett stuff in the late 80s was ugly.
It was just bizarre looking. Yeah, bizarre drawings.
A lot of it was like cheap iron-on cereal nonsense.
Yeah.
But Vince is all about that shit, and Luger just never got it. He never got it.
No,
he didn't understand what all this was. This was way over his pay grade.
And it wasn't. He could have. I mean, again, like you said, we've talked about this time and time again. But he is marketable and he is charismatic, and he will get into something, and he can be very good. Like, okay, so on WBF Body Stars, he comes in and he'll make these kind of cameo appearances on the show, and he's hilarious because he's being this gross, stuck-up heel, just this real annoying beefcake that you would find at the gym that's going to make fun of you or whatever. That's
so, like, his real personality.
Exactly. That's who he is, like the narcissist. That's who he is, and that's how he's marketable. Or if he's going to be a babyface, then it's like he was in '88, which is this kind of bimbo, aloof, very excitable
what a great term.
Guy who would just
wrestling's bimbo.
Well, what's a mimbo? He's a mimbo, right?
He's
just like on Seinfeld.
Also true to life.
Yep.
Yeah, totally. But it's him and we'll see this interview with him later on. But it's just him as this all-American good guy who can, be a role model to kids. That's not who he is. And that's like, he's also a person who he will get excited and he will really sink his teeth into stuff like we see in the Nitro era, the early Nitro era, for instance. But if he's not excited about something, he's not going to do a very good job at it. And you can tell how unenthusiastic and how unexcited he is about this whole thing.
He made children feel his steroid muscles. What kind of role model does that?
I know.
Yeah. Hey, look at that. Hey, look at that. Feel that. That's like what it was like that.
You don't say that to little children. Okay.
No, you do not. That is correct.
Mommy, why does his sweat smell like cough medicine?
No. God.
Oh my God. All right. So from one ridiculous thing to the next, we have Jerry Lawler rolling up in a pink Cadillac.
This is amazing.
With a Elvis impersonator driving the car.
Impersonator?
You're right. It's Elvis. Sorry. There are imposters out there, but these guys are the real deals.
That's right.
Lawler asks Elvis if he gets tired of people and these imposters impersonating him. Elvis says that he had lunch with JFK and Marilyn Monroe, and they all talked about it. That Bret Hart was only copying Lawler, and there can only be one king, and that he will break Bret in half.
Oh, this was awesome. This is classic Lawler. I mean, this has Memphis written all over it. This is so Memphis. I did like the line when you bought this car in 1959. What's her name? Helen Hart was already 73. That was pretty.
Already, him and the Helen Hart and Stu Hart jokes. It goes for another 4 years.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Yeah. It goes all the way literally to 95 pretty much, and maybe even into.
Dude, it goes until Montreal. He's making fun of Stu and Helen at WrestleMania 13 during the submission match.
Yeah, he stops doing it when Brett turns heel, but this is just epic, perfect. Memphis. Like, this is Lawler's wheelhouse right here. As a matter of fact, I would have been surprised if at some point Lawler and Jarrett's dad did a fucking Elvis promo at some point in 84, whatever, in Memphis. There's no doubt. I enjoyed this immensely. I actually did. I know a lot of people kind of crap on WWF Lawler in that stretch, but he was really good here. When we talk about promos, because we'll talk about his opponent's promo shortly, he definitely looked a hell of a lot better. But I enjoyed it. It was funny.
This Elvis character looked like me in Elvis garb. The hell are we doing?
Elvis Souza. Yes. Elvis Souza. There you go. Perfect. I knew that was coming.
This is a bit of a deep cut, so bear with me.
Oh, no.
He made this Elvis character made Bruce Campbell's Elvis and Bubba Hotep look Oscar worthy.
That's fantastic.
I mean, Jesus, the line was good about Helen. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But I mean, he didn't look like Elvis. He was fat Elvis. His accent was awful. You can almost hear his Boston coming through in his Elvis accent.
Definitely.
Like, come on. Christ, I could have done a better job.
Drew, what do you think?
Oh yeah, this was really funny. I mean, the idea of getting an Elvis impersonator who looked and sounded nothing like Elvis. Again, that's pure Jerry Lawler. That's like part of his genius as like a wrestling personality. This was very, very funny. Now, does anyone know who this person was?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just some dude. I don't think it was.
I was gonna ask you guys. I figured it was some
Elvis Presley is what I was told.
Sure. I was wondering if maybe it was like some old Memphis, friend of his or something. But
or as Sue said, Elvis Presley, born in Fall River. Fall River.
I kind of love that idea.
I have real quick. I have been listening to a lot of fat Elvis, like 70s Elvis lately. If anyone knows of a good greatest hits from that time period, like basically what's that, like From Elvis to Memphis or whatever, that one through the end, through Moody Blue, let me know. You guys or anyone out there listening. Because I want,
think
like
Time Life may have put one out. It's called Songs from the Toilet.
Come on.
It's called Songs from the Two and All bottle.
Too soon?
Yeah, a bit. That hurt.
Peanut butter and gravy sandwich. There you go.
My apologies to any Elvis's relatives who are listening to this podcast.
You're fucked. Graceland's out for your ass.
All right, we go back to JR and Gorilla. JR's talking about the video and calls Elvis and Lawler a pair of jerks, which I thought was funny. And then we go into a Bret Hart promo, otherwise known as the highlight of the show. Bret insists that Lawler has gone too far. Bret doesn't like it when he gets personal, but Lawler has called out his family, and at the SummerSlam, his family's going to be in attendance, and they're going to cheer on Bret while he beats the shit out of Jerry Lawler at the SummerSlam. This is amazing. Like, just saying the SummerSlam popped me so hard. Like, he just kept saying it. And Bret Hart promos have grown on me. Damn it, I can't help but like them now.
I did like how
So
he called
is
Lawler a bogus phony king at the end.
Yeah.
Bogus phony king, eh?
Bogus phony king
Bogus phony king, eh?
at the SummerSlam.
In the SummerSlam.
The SummerSlam.
is this the famous promo where, I mean, had he said the SummerSlam before then?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. So it was like an ongoing thing. It wasn't. This was like the impetus of that.
No. He said it like in '91. I think we go back to
okay.
'91 when he was feuding with Perfect and.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. He loves saying that. The SummerSlam.
I
Like how
wonder.
old people say the Google.
The Twitter machine. I wonder if like they ever try to correct him, or they just let him roll with it, or like, did anybody notice? Are we just weird?
All of the above.
Yeah.
You know what though? So that is kind of weird that he wasn't corrected and
Yeah,
forced
definitely.
to say. I mean, that's like an aesthetic thing. Like
Mhm.
one thing that is so annoying on WCW is everybody says the WCW, that's not what the name of the company is. And that's like, I always thought, man, that's something that would never fly. Like Vince would never let that fly. So I don't know. I think it's strange that, no one ever corrected him or no one ever made him do a retake or something of the
Yeah, it
promos.
definitely is weird. But now it lives on forever to bring me such joy.
Maybe they
That's
stopped
true.
bothering. Maybe they stopped trying because they knew he never could.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
kept
like,
fucking
okay.
it up every time.
So I don't even think they
And it's
gave a
weird
shit.
that that's the only one he does it with. Like, he doesn't say the WrestleMania.
Right.
Or,
Well, the other two pay-per-views, the fits, the Royal Rumble, the Survivor Series. But you're right, he never says the WrestleMania. He only says the SummerSlam.
face my
That's a
brother
good point.
Owen at the WrestleMania.
Yeah, I don't know. What a shit show.
Watch this show just for that promo. It's so great. And why? Why is that funny to me? Like, why is it funny that he says "the" like that? I don't know. But
Well,
anyway,
it's weird.
it is
Sounds
so
like an
weird.
idiot. That's why.
It's like, what's the big fucking deal? But like, I don't know. It's funny to me. Anyway, moving on. We're going to a 6-man tag match with the Smoking Guns with Tatanka versus a litany of names that should never be put together. Barry Horowitz, the Brooklyn Brawler, and Reno Riggins?
Reno Riggins. Yep.
Okay.
Epic jobber. Jobber extraordinaire.
Weird stuff here. I don't this was a very odd match for me. Like, I didn't hate it, but it's a lot of like quick tags back and forth, like constant motion, a lot of quick work. Um, Wrestling in jeans is fun. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it does add a certain something. They do a couple of near falls on one of the guns. Brawler gets some basic offense pretty much. JR says that Barry and Brawler and Riggins have nothing to lose at this point. I'm like, you right about that, JR. Riggins takes a forearm to the nose at one point and gets his bill rung. Tatanka comes in, cleans house with his chops, and then it starts a huge brawl. He dances around the ring, and then he wins with the crossbody press off the top on Barry. So it was maybe a little bit of a step up from the previous matches on the show just because of the quick pace. Like, I really enjoyed watching them tag quickly. I don't know why. But I went 2.5 stars on this. What did you think, Drew?
I liked this. I liked that they worked it differently than just a regular tag match because there's 3 people on each team.
Mm-hmm.
They can afford to have a quicker pace, and so it made it stand out. Billy Gunn. So I had not seen Billy Gunn. I didn't realize they were in the company at this time. He looks almost unrecognizable here, to me at least. He's still so big, underrated big guy. Yeah, this was cool though. It was fun, fast paced. Tatanka looked great on the hot tag, and then his big splash. It looks awesome. Always. I like Tatanka. So, yeah, good match.
Can you tell me why Barry has handprints on his ass cheeks?
Patting himself on the back.
Oh.
Or on the bottom at this point.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that was the gimmick. Yeah.
What did you think about this one, Scott?
I thought it was pretty solid. I mean, because the Guns and Tatanka were going to be in a 6-man tag at the SummerSlam with Bigelow and what the fuck was it? Bigelow and
Head Shrinkers.
Head Shrinkers. Thank you. So this was kind of a warm up for these three guys. Reno Riggins is like one of these epic all-time jobber guys.
Is that his real name?
Yes.
Really?
Reno Riggins. Oh, probably not. I doubt it.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Well, Reno Riggins and Wrestling in Jeans, very 95 WCW, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But of course. But no, it was just, 2 stars for me. I mean, it was a good 6-man tag fair to put over the Guns and Tatanka. You know, that was about it. Just to give the jobbers a check and, you know, yeah, that was about it. Just
Matt?
a boost for the 6-man.
It was fine, but I did think it was weird that the Jobber All-Star Squad got as much offense as they did.
And Gorilla pointed it out too.
I thought it went like too long, and you're trying to build up this team of Tatanka and Smoking Guns as being a threat to Bam Bam and the Head Shrinkers at SummerSlam, and you're having them struggle against this gaggle of misfits. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it was just kind of weird. And can we talk about Brooklyn Brawler for a minute? How the hell did he keep a job for so long? He sucks. He's just the worst.
I enjoy his beard quite a bit.
Either he's got pics of Vince in a compromising position doing something unseemly, or he's a kiss ass of the highest degree because he's terrible.
Well,
Vince would never do anything unseemly, Matt.
No, but
No,
I mean,
my apologies. You're probably right.
maybe him and Pat Patterson liked Steve. So.
Well, there are. I think what you're alluding to, Scott. I mean, there are.
Drew didn't even know how to fucking say it. That's the best
What
part.
are you alluding to, Scott?
Well, no, I mean there have been those rumors, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm not making that up. No, they're
No.
have. Oh, definitely.
So I mean there's that, but also like there is that strange sense of loyalty that Vince has for certain people, you know?
Yes.
The man wrestled on pay-per-view in like 2015. What the hell are we doing?
All right,
so
moving
odd.
on. We have another Lex Express video. My notes say traveling around showing his muscles. So that's pretty accurate about what happens here.
There was one note I had that I think this is the one where there was a clip of a small child flexing, and the child was absolutely mortified.
Yes. Yes. They're like in a Kmart or something.
Yeah, just on the brink of bawling her eyes out.
Yeah,
Oh my
just pure terror in the eyes.
Oh my god, yeah.
To be fair, if I'd met Lex Luger, I'd probably have that face on too.
Well, sure.
Luger's like the Santa Claus in A Christmas Story when Ralphie and they're like, all right, get him out of here.
Yeah.
These kids smell like tapioca.
Now, is this the one where he holds the baby, or is that
Not
the
yet.
next one? Okay.
No, that's coming up.
Okay. Hold off on that.
Also, Lex was wearing a sweet fanny pack over his American flag pants.
His American flag bastard pants.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's where he keeps his hypodermic needs.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Where Hugo, what's his name, takes care of him.
All right. Moving on, we go to the ring where Mean Gene introduces The Undertaker, and he walks out. JR wonders about the status of Paul Bearer. Will he be at the SummerSlam or not? And Gene wants The Undertaker to explain the rules for the Rest in Peace match that he's got coming up. And then The Undertaker just rambles about some bullshit. The day of reckoning's at hand. when the Undertaker drives his hand into your carcass and extracts every living organ you have. Undertaker will possess the soul of Giant Gonzalez. Doesn't really explain much about the rules to the match, so still kind of confused about that. Giant comes out, lumbers out. Very disturbing. This time you rest in peace, he says. It looks like they're gonna fight, but then Gonzalez is like, meh, probably not, and then just walks off, and then the Undertaker just walks off. So this is very odd. What did you guys think about it?
Well, when the first thought I had when Taker goes off on talking about flesh and carcasses and organs was this the precursor to the eye for an eye match that we saw a few weeks ago?
Or the Boneyard match?
Right. And that was pretty much all I had. Like you said, Gonzalez, the man suit, is still a choice that they made. But yeah, that's kind of all I got.
Does it ever get easier to see that? Because it was quite off-putting.
No, not really. You won't have to see it for much longer, though. I can say that.
Any other thoughts on this one?
It was evident that this feud sucked, and there was nothing else for Taker to fucking do, because his promo meant absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
And I never noticed, like all the years that I've watched Giant Gonzalez and watched that fucking suit, I never realized they had hair on his ass. I just never understood that. Like,
oh my god,
his big ass gets on the camera. I'm like, why is his ass full of hair? Like, who the fuck designed this outfit? It's fucking terrible. Why do they make him talk too? That's why you have a manager. Why is he cutting promos, mumbling oaf? God, terrible. Felt bad for Taker here.
Why didn't they at least like hit each other or something? Nobody
because
cares.
They didn't want Gonzalez to throw any more punches than he had to.
Yeah. Last thing we needed is extra work rate or lack thereof.
So that was odd. And then we're moving on to, let me check my notes. More Lex Express crap. All right, good. I think this is the weird baby one.
Yes.
Yeah, this
Where
is
Lex,
the first. Oh my god. So
and
cringy.
Consider using this for a show image.
Of course.
But it is Lex holding a baby, and he looks just utterly disgusted at the idea of
tries
It literally looks like he's holding a flaming bag of shit. He really does.
He tries, he truly does, and he tries to say like, "Oh, look at the little baby," but it just does not work.
And it's super adorable baby too. It's not one of the ugly babies.
Yes, it's got this beautiful curly hair and these big bright eyes.
He hands the kid off. He's like, "Oh, here's that kid of yours there. Here you go. Take it, please. Please take the child."
And then he like sloppily like signs his name on a kid's like broken leg on his cast.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Sure, he knows how to spell. I don't know.
Why does it say?
Well,
Rex
now, Jenny, you do need to stand corrected there because as Jim Ross always points out, Lex had a 3.8 grade point average in school.
Oh yeah,
and he's a college graduate.
Those grades certainly weren't falsified or anything like that.
For football purposes.
Yeah.
Well, now, what are you implying, Matt?
Look,
yeah, Matt.
If I talked to the right people, I could have graduated college with a 4. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, sorry, real quick. I was applying for grad school a couple years ago, and I realized my cumulative college grade point average was a 2.9.
C's get
That's
degrees.
pathetic.
No, it's not. Hey, at least you didn't drop out.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got there.
It'll haunt you for the rest of your life. Anyway.
Reno Riggins probably dropped out.
Speaking of haunting, let's talk about what we got going on the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed right here. We have a jam-packed second episode of NWA Crock and Roll with host Sean and Callum and Dr. G with you, Matt Souza, to look at May of 1985 from Jim Crockett NWA. Anything you want to say about that show?
Well, that was a really great show to record. Sean was awesome as host, and boy, there was a lot that happened on in May of 1985. So check that out for sure. It was a lot of fun to record for sure. So.
Also fun to record was the new PTB NXT. Me and Jake and Tim go through 3 episodes of NXT TV from May of 2014. It is the lead up to the first takeover. So lots of good stuff there, along with our new crazy gimmick names that we do every episode. So check that out. Scott, you had the NWA Saturday Special with you and Dr. G discussing the big news on the new partnership, and you had some mailbag questions and another rant.
Yes. Even though it has nothing to do with the NWA, people seem to constantly want to needle me on why I hate AEW, and I said I don't hate AEW, I just hate their fans. But I did that again. But we had a great show. We did talk about the NWA's new partnership with the United Wrestling Alliance, and hopefully more news on that by this weekend's show. And we took some mailbag. We had done the mailbag on Main Event last week, and we had some interesting questions. So yeah, good show. Check it out.
I really do love your rants on AEW, Scott.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, there were 2 last week. You got 2 shows for the price of 1. So there you go. There you go.
Speaking of the main event, you and Nate and Steve, like you said, did the mailbag, and then another AEW rant.
Yeah,
I see. There you go.
Yep.
On the newest drive through the highway to the Impact Zone, Logan and the guys look at the 4th episode of Impact and weekly pay-per-view number 101. You can also find great shows on the Place Nation Pop feed, the Year in Pop, Laughing Theater, The Great Debate, Diamond Conversations, It Was a Thing on TV, A Piece of the Action, Blockbuster Rewind, and a bunch more stuff on that feed, so check it out. Also, the North-South Connection, brought to you by JT, Chad, and Aaron. It is the official home for Wrestling Warzone, No Holds Barred, The Extreme 3-Way Dance, Jeff Learns Wrestling, the Ruthlessly Aggressive Podcast, TNA Never Dies, and more. We have officially kicked off our 2020 stretch project. It is determining the greatest WCW match ever, so you can still do your research into the matches and build your list. If you want the rules, you can go to the Facebook page, just search GWCW matches, or check out the Pro Wrestling Only message board to work on that. Also on our social media, you can find the greatest song from a movie tournament. Vote every day on that. I thought we were having a couple of voting issues there, so I'm not sure if those are corrected, but hopefully they are. So vote on those every day. Also check out PlaceToBeNation.com every day. You can read things like Trent's SmackDown on Fox Report, This Week in the WWE by John Crow, Polly's Perspective, Ben's Unpopular Opinion, Matt's Disney live action journey, and other stuff on the website. Of course, if you want to order from Amazon, you can go to our homepage and it will take you right there. And it helps us out with no cost to you. And back to the show. It is time for Shawn Michaels versus Bob Backlund. Okay. Once again, during commentary, we have to hear about Lex's campaign of nothingness. So
of baby hatred.
It's a call to action.
It's okay. Shawn seems pretty much uninterested in this match to begin with. The crowd boos him. He chills out on the top rope for a little bit. Bob gets some basic offense. I think I've said that quite a bit tonight, but he does get a close 2 count on a backslide, and then they go to a commercial with Bob having Shawn in the corner, and then by the time we come back from the commercial, Shawn's just punching Bob in the face. So that was fun. And then they explain how wrestling works. For some reason, JR and Gorilla, it was like the challenger has to pin the champ to win. I'm like, yep, that's how that works usually. So thanks for that. Bob slaps Shawn, does the back body drop and a drop kick, and then a neck breaker for 2. So he was feeling himself for a couple of minutes. He gets the atomic drop, on Sean. But he covers for the win, but then the ref is distracted by Diesel. So he gets the visual pin, but it's not counted. Michaels rolls Bob up with his tights to get the win. I didn't like this as much. Sean is quite a dick, so that was entertaining. But for the most part, he looked bored and not much going here for me. 2 stars. What do you think, Matt?
I thought it was interesting. Backlund kind of wrestling that 80s style with a guy who is obviously in the 90s working his own 90s style. I thought it was kind of like a weird contrast to styles, but I thought it was halfway decent actually. It felt kind of like a house show match, like nothing you would have seen on a pay-per-view, but it was just kind of there. But there was one part in the beginning, near the beginning of the match, Backlund's hitting a couple hip tosses, and then he gets Sean up for a body slam, and Sean just full on grabs himself a hand of Backlund junk.
Yep.
Like his hand was just right on the penis. No bones about it. I don't know what he was doing, whether he was checking him for polyps or whatnot, but it was it was just yep.
Right on the penis.
That's Sean's hand on Backlund's penis. All right. There's a body slam. But
well, I should add another star.
But yeah, it was a decent enough match, I suppose.
I thought Shawn Michaels looked terrible here.
I thought so too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he was kind of pudgy, and his tights. He always kind of pulled his tights up higher, but he had like a little bit of just kind of softness to him. His face, he had kind of chubby cheeks, bad haircut, very lazy. He didn't really care. Yeah, it was fine. I don't know, not great. Still, it was only 6 minutes long. I thought it still kind of felt long. So, yeah, not great.
You agree, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, this is prime Sean douche mode in '93. Him and Diesel. I think what did he say? What did Sean say in his on his DVD? Steroids and pancakes, or some type of diet he had in '93.
Yeah.
And it's evident. And yeah, you're right, Drew. He used to pull his pants up like a fucking diaper. Yeah, this is primo douche mode for Sean on camera and in real life. This proves it. I mean, I would have just had perfect win. I wonder what would happen with that match 27 years ago in a week. So I don't know what's going to happen, but maybe the outcome should have been different than what it is that we're not going to say. But no, I love Backlund, old school for me. But yeah, Sean's in just primo douche mode right now, and he doesn't even hide it in this match how fucking lazy and uninterested he is. You think it's the gimmick or the part of the storyline, but no, he legitimately doesn't give two shits. It's not fake. Total shit.
That's a heck of a guy to be doing that with in the ring too. I mean, Bob Backlund could,
fuck you up.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I
Yeah,
will say though about Backlund, like he's great, he's tremendous, but the act was kind of running thin. The happy-go-lucky baby face thing was kind of running thin at this point. He needed a change, I think.
I agree.
Already here.
Yeah.
Not that excuses Sean from doing what he does, but I do think Backlund was in need of something different.
I didn't realize he was still with the company. I thought he had done that thing at WrestleMania and then that was it. I didn't realize he was kind of still around.
Well, we're moving on to a very important question. The question is, who is Lex Luger? It's something that I know that we've all thought deeply about, especially Drew.
Every day.
We're going to hear in his own words who Lex Luger is. He talks about finding a role model. This is somebody I meant to look up, actually. Don Reinhardt. I don't know who that is. World record for weightlifting, I guess.
He was mumbling through it too much. I couldn't even discern what the name was.
Yeah, I was using my caps to figure out what the shit he was saying. But then he talks about becoming a role model, And he relates to Charles Barkley. I didn't understand that reference. Not sure. Is it just in general of Charles Barkley being a role model? I feel like that's
because that was that was the because at the time in '93, Barkley did a very controversial commercial on for
He
Nike
was a bad boy, yeah.
that said, "Don't call me a role model." That was his whole big thing. So that was the correlation because the Nike commercial that Barkley did in '93.
Okay.
Don't call me a role model.
That makes more sense. He talks about how it's a big responsibility to be a role model and that he takes it seriously and that he tries to always carry himself with dignity and to sign autographs for people. And he thinks that all the kids should just always try their best. So, any thoughts here?
He looks at the camera, straight into the camera, and says, like, never, ever let anyone tell you you can't do something, or just something very generic like that. But it's a little jarring, him just staring right into the camera like that.
Staring into your soul.
Into my soul with those piercing blue eyes.
And then it switches from like color to like black and white, like he's saying something very dramatic.
Yeah.
My two thoughts on this were, God, they tried their damnedest to make Luger into Hulk Hogan.
Sure enough.
And my second thought was, I just don't believe in Lex Luger as a human being.
You just legit don't believe in his existence.
As a valid being, yeah.
I just don't. He's not believable as a person.
He's a cyborg.
Don't buy your human gimmick there, Lex
No.
Luger. I would agree with that. So,
yeah, it's rough. Not pretty.
Speaking of rough, we go to a sort of off-putting promo coming off this weird interview with Luger. Now we're back in this stairwell or whatever with Vince, quote unquote locker room. It's legit not a locker room, but he's with Ludwig Borga. He starts speaking. What does he speak?
Swedish.
Finnish.
Finnish.
And of course Vince was like, "No, you need to speak English." And then he gets very like his panties in a twist about Vince asking him to speak English on Vince's fucking show. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, he said he's going to beat up all America. He doesn't care about titles. He just wants to destroy everyone and give them pain. This is a whole ass mood right here, and I'm here for it. I kind of enjoyed this. What do you think?
Did you recognize who this was, Jenny? One Ludwig Borga.
No?
Well, during, I know you've probably blocked this out of your memory, but during the UWF Blackjack Brawl, he was Finland Hellraiser Thor.
He was, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. That makes it even better. I enjoy it more.
Remember that was a show we did?
Yes, I do. Vaguely. Did y'all like this?
I like Ludwig Borga.
Yeah, I like Ludwig Borga. I'm talking like Lex Luger now. I like Ludwig Borga.
How disingenuous of you.
Yeah.
Your disingenuous assertions.
Yeah, he's got a cool look too, especially for '93 WWF. Mm-hmm. He looks like a legit fighter.
It's so funny because later after I finished the show, I was thinking about like what part of this made me most hyped for the SummerSlam 1993, because I'm definitely gonna have to watch it. And I'm like, I really want to see what Borga gets up to with Marty Jannetty. Which is horrible. Like, why would I even think that? So don't spoil that one for me either, please. Mm-hmm. All right. Speaking of Marty Jannetty, he comes flying out to face Dwayne Gill. What's your favorite Dwayne Gill match, Matt?
Anything he did while he was Gilberg, former light heavyweight champion Gilberg.
Gilberg, gotcha. So that explains my first note. Who the fuck is this? Got it. Basic stuff, but pretty good speed. Jannetty gets good air on a back body drop. JR says Dwayne Gill is not in the league with Ludwig Borga. And I thought, no shit, JR. So, this was, it was all right. He gets some sort of modified DDT off the top, and then another quick move off the top to get the pin. So, pretty much squash. Anybody have any thoughts about this one?
Yeah, it was a squash.
Yeah, it was a
basic
squash. Yep, pretty much.
Jannetty looked good, better than Shawn Michaels did.
Very much better, yeah.
And Dwayne Gill's hair was very upsetting.
His whole face was upsetting.
Well, that too.
All of that was not good. He looks kind of like a Great Value Hogan, though.
Wow. Wow, that's impressive.
And then we come to one of my favorite spots in these shows when we get the SummerSlam report with Gene. It's like nothing, but I don't know why I always pop for these little parts. I guess I just love Gene. Anyway, he says that the SummerSlam 1993 is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, and that Aaron Neville will sing the anthem, which we had heard earlier, and then he just runs down the card. Weird stip with the Lex vs. Yoko match, where this is the only shot Lex will ever fucking get at Yoko, and that he has to wear a pad over his right elbow and his forearm. Why is that?
Because he has metal in that forearm after a motorcycle accident.
He was in a motorcycle accident.
And he would use that as the narcissist. He would use that to win.
Did they think that the metal was gonna like come out of his arm or something? Like,
no, it gives him like a loaded elbow.
How much metal did they put in there?
A lot.
Tons.
Oh my god.
Enough to hit Bret Hart at the biceps and bagels, which is why he always says "the" in front of everything from now on.
Very specific brain damage there. All right. So the rest of the card: Bret Hart versus Lawler, Mr. Perfect versus Shawn, Undertaker and Gonzalez, Steiners and Heavenly Bodies, Tatanka with the Guns versus the Head Shrinkers and Bam Bam, Razor versus Ted, 1-2-3 Kid versus IRS, Marty Jannetty against Borga. And so all of this is pretty much just so they can set up the cage match for the main events. Finkel announces the rules for the steel cage, and they're very simple. The door will be locked. Both of the team members must climb out of the cage to the floor, and that is the only way to win. So there's no like tagging, there's no like pinning or anything like that. So basically just climb out and you win. But both guys have to climb out. So that is where the difficulty is going to come in this match. It's like JR and Gorilla say, it's hard to call because a lot of it is just somebody climbing a match and then the other guy pulling them off the cage. So I say that, but the combinations in which they do that is brilliant in this match. It's nonstop somebody pulling somebody off of something, somebody climbing something. Not a lot of like hitting going on here. We do see Ted's ass cheeks several times in the match because he's just being pulled down constantly. It's very weird. Has anybody else seen a match like this before? Is this unique?
At this point in time, it kind of was a tag team cage match in WWE. Like, off the top of my head, I mean, there was, the No Holds Barred cage match in '89, and then there was a couple of tag team cage matches on house shows, but they didn't really do tag team cage matches as much as, say, like an NWA did.
Right. No, the tag cage match concept for WWF really kicked in during the Attitude Era.
Well, I love the format of this. Gorilla is very frustrated by it, though. He's like, because if one guy gets over, you leave your teammate in there, and then he's, fucked because you both got to climb out. So they do this amazing, like, ballet of, like, one guy climbing out. Oh, God, my guy's in trouble. I got to climb the fuck back in. And then he climbs the fuck back in. And then it's just chaos, but it's riveting. It looks so dangerous. It looks so exhausting, but they're taking care of each other. Like, you can tell that they're really helping each other out in all these climbing spots, which I'm glad. But I love the mixture of them getting in and out of there. Because I took notes on like where everybody was at every point, but you just can't like run through it. But it really is like really fun to watch, and the crowd is super hot for it. And I love the finish. They had just done this whole back and forth of climbing in and out of the cage, so you're really just trying to find the spot where you can keep one guy isolated and hold him so your guy can come out on the floor. So that's what Rick and Scott do. So eventually IRS ends up on Rick's shoulders on the outside of the ring, and then Ted comes over to punch to try to get him off, and Scott manages to climb down and they win. The crowd goes freaking nuts. JR and Gorilla marking out hard. This is a 4-star match for me. I loved it. Matt, what do you think?
I would agree with everything you said. I thought this was great. I thought it was booked smartly with how they did the teases of them escaping the cage. And excuse me, the other thing is, in future tag team cage matches, a lot of times you wouldn't see like the partner climb back in over the cage and help his partner out. A lot of times they would just stand out there and look at their partner like a goof and watch him get beat up. Right?
I mean, they just kept doing it. It kept going. I'm like, how do they have the energy to keep doing this? Like, it was everything. I was loving this. What did you think, Scott? Oh, sorry. Keep going, Matt.
There was that other spot too where Scott Steiner jumps off the top of the cage with an axe handle. Scott Steiner's not a small human being doing that. That was wild. And the other thing I thought too was I would have found a way to put this on SummerSlam proper and not do this on free TV.
Yeah.
This felt like something that could have given SummerSlam a big boost in match quality. I mean, you do this here, like you have like maybe you do Steiner's Heavenly Bodies here, and then you do like Money Inc. versus Razor Ramon and 1-2-3 Kid in a tag match. But this on SummerSlam would have given that show a boost for sure. But yeah, just a really, really great match.
What did you think, Scott?
Oh, the match was fantastic. And incidentally, this would be Money Inc.'s final match as a tag team, which is sad because they were amazing.
Oh, really?
Yes, they would no longer tag after this, and they'd been tagging for over a year. Would they start Souza in like early '92, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Steiners are so good. They're a team that they're a team that I've appreciated more. I was never the biggest fan of them, but honestly, not to plug the amazing PTB Wrestling Network feed, but your episode of Talking WCW when you guys did the Steiners kind of got me motivated to watch those matches, and I'm like, you know what, they are actually pretty badass. So thank you for that, Tim and Mr. Phillips. Mm-hmm. Great episode, great show. So yeah, I got motivated to like more Steiners, and this proved it. I mean, really fun match. They were good tag team champions. I wish they held them longer. I wish they were there longer. But the tag division in 93, 94 was a little rough. And I think they knew that. But I enjoyed it. Great way to end the show.
Super awesome way. What do you think, Drew?
Yeah, this was really cool. So the Steiners, they are kind of out of place in WWF. I mean, they're so at home in a much more aggressive style. Mm-hmm. A more physical and hard-hitting style that you'd find in WCW. In a cage is a good environment for them, though. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Are you watching Body Stars right now? Is that why you're?
Well, no, my wife.
This is my call to action to finish this podcast, sir.
Oily Lex.
So, sorry, my wife is texting me about my Del Taco order, and I want to make sure she gets the right thing.
I see what's more important to you, sir.
Well, yes.
Do we need to stop the show so you can order your Del Taco?
No, I don't.
I'm struggling to answer that. And
I don't know what she's talking about here. I don't understand what's happening.
It's not Del Tacos, it's Lex's Tacos. Oh god. Get the nachos. I don't know.
No, not the nachos there. Okay, sorry. So anyways, what I really liked, it was almost like because one of the big uh complaints about a tag team cage match is that, well, it doesn't really make any sense to have tags in and out. Why are teams following tags if it's a cage match and you're just supposed to go crazy and there's no disqualifications or whatever? And so they eliminated that aspect. So it just has this totally wild sense of, like you said, just chaos. They do a really good job of hitting a big spot. Each team will hit a big spot as a transition, and they transition well to working over. There's not like long-term selling or like really focused on a limb or something like that, but they do a good job of, there's a spot, like there's a big it's either IRS or Million Dollar Man hits a big superplex on one of the Steiners, and so that means that now they're going to take over for a little bit, and there's a 2-on-1 situation while one of them's trying to climb out, and there's this cool back and forth all throughout. As far as each guy kind of climbing over and then having to climb back over, I think there is a little bit of trouble with that, in the sense of like, well, because it just kept happening, and well, maybe they should have learned. So there's a little bit of a difficulty there, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter. This was cool. I don't like escape the cage rules in general, because it just, I don't know. That's just one of those things, and I get why they did it. And especially like why WWF. It's very clear, and I think someone has explained it before. So this was a Vince Senior invention, was walking out the door of the cage, right, Scott?
Nah,
Because
I see it in Crockett. No, I think NWA did it too.
Real? Well, I mean,
yeah.
They would have done it. WWF would have done it first, right? I mean, Vince Senior. I don't know. I've never seen it in Crockett. Because I mean, the idea.
Some of the backlink cage matches for sure are escape.
Well, yeah. Because the idea of it was, I'm just trying to think if it was Vince Senior or Vince Junior that invented it. But the idea was that you
might be right. Yeah.
You want the conquering babyface walking out of the ring, or walking out of the door of the cage, and you want that visual. So to eliminate, and that makes sense. It's a little wonky, it being a cage match, but that visual and that idea makes sense to me. But the over the top, and I think that was Hogan who first was doing the over the top. That was like his thing, right?
Yeah, babyface always tried to make life harder for themselves.
Yeah.
Faces always went over the top. Heels always tried to go through the door because it was the easier way.
Yeah.
That's a trope.
So, yeah. So anyways, that's a little even less. I don't know. I kind of have a issue with that. It just doesn't make as much sense. But they did a good job with it here. This was cool. Yeah, this was cool.
One of my favorite spots where Ted almost got out, and then they pulled him down, and he ended up upside down in the corner, and then they just stomp his ass. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Gorilla and JR close out the show with another hard sell for the SummerSlam. And then they say that there's a special rap for Lex by Rappin' Randy and Men on a Mission. And then we get an amazing rap song to close the show.
Awesome.
Almost knocked the hole right through the
bottom of the boat. So great.
I will definitely be playing that one to close the show. So that just leaves our awards for the night. The Diamond Award For a favorite match, I think across the board we're going to go with Steiner's and Money Inc.
Marty Jannetty and Dwayne.
Mm.
No, it's the cage match easily.
All right. For our Cubic Zirconia Award, yeah, I'm going to give that one to Jannetty and old, what's his face? Gil?
Bird.
Dwayne Gill.
Dwayne
Gil.
Gilbert. Yep.
Anybody object
I
to
thought
that?
the Shawn match for me.
Yeah, I'm giving it. Sean deserves to get the fucking cheapo award tonight. He was fat and douchey and yeah, pancake.
But he
shoving.
grabbed Bob Backlund's penis.
But he grabbed his penis.
See,
That's
there
how
you
It's got
go.
to account for something.
It does. The Ruby Award, it was kind of difficult for me because that's kind of like the MVP of the show. Now, I mean, there are some options here, but I ultimately went with JR and Gorilla as a team on commentary. I thought they did a really good job at selling the pay-per-view and walking us through all of the feuds and everything.
Yeah, I'll go with that. I thought the Steiners were really great too.
They were. I'm surprised you didn't go Lex on this, Drew.
I mean,
It was 30% of the show.
like I can't, in good
He
conscience.
didn't wrestle, so.
Yeah. No, I mean he was not good. Like, that's the whole thing. He's not good as
Not
made
good.
in the USA. Lex Luger. So
You heard what you just said, right? Like, Lex was not good.
I
You said
know,
it a
I know,
couple
I
of
know.
times in there. All right.
I know.
Sensing, it's almost like there's a pattern here with Lex Luger. Huh.
Interesting.
Stop.
Who else for MVP, Matt?
I would probably go Steiner's.
Scott, what do you think?
I think I'm gonna go with Cornette. I think I loved his. I mean, his promo was
Ooh,
really
good call.
His
Yeah.
promo was really good,
Mm,
putting over Yoko in that title match.
yeah.
And the baby for not shitting on
The
Lex
baby.
after being forced to hold him like a bag of poo. I'm surprised he didn't turn into a bag of poo. Here's your baby all over the fucking tie.
So the Opal Award is sort of just the highlights. I liked, of course, Brett saying the SummerSlam. I liked the whole premise of the cage match. I liked Mean Gene's SummerSlam report because I don't know why, just a mark for that.
We all are.
Yes, and that's about it for highlights. What do you think, Scott?
I always love Mean Gene's reports. We all do. Sadly, though, this is not SummerSlam related, so we can't really call it a spoiler. I believe this is his last pay-per-view report
Ah, that sucks.
because I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, by November
Right,
he's
Suze?
in WCW.
Yeah, by November he's in WCW and Todd starts doing the reports.
I like Todd too.
Yeah. So that was a highlight. Again, Brett's stroking Brett's hitting the back of the head with a shovel promo was solid. And the SummerSlam, it's kind of like Bubba Ray Dudley. The Lawler Elvis stuff was great.
Mm,
Even though Elvis sounded like he was from Keene, New Hampshire.
mm.
It was,
I would also
Steiner's-
add experiencing machismo to that list as well.
yes, experiencing machismo, absolutely, all over the place.
What you got, Matt?
I am giving an Opal Award to every single child that was frightened by Lex Luger because they deserve something nice.
They're the
Bless
real
their
heroes.
hearts.
Bless their hearts.
Drew, who you giving the Opal to?
You know what I'm gonna give the Opal to is because I do think this is a cool concept. Is all the baby faces wearing the USA wristbands?
All right. The call to action wristband.
Call to action wristbands. Take action. Come on.
Take action in your wrists. I don't know what kind of message that sends, but
There's a joke somewhere in there. Give me a minute.
sure is. Well, that's our show, and I like this one quite a bit. It's a fun watch, like 90 minutes, although it somehow took me all the fucking day for some reason. So throw it on. Scott, is there anything you want to promote before we go?
Well, the usual weekend stuff. Obviously, the NWA Saturday special this weekend. There is a special bonus episode of the main event, me, Nate, and Steve. Let's just say it is not going to be Friday morning like it normally is. You'll just have to wait over the weekend to find out. Well, actually, as you're listening to this, it was already past Friday. So if you didn't see it, it's coming very soon. But there is a bonus episode of the main event coming. And after a 3-week hiatus, this coming week, my PIC, Mr. Rozzero, and I will return with the next episode of the Place to Be podcast, the January 91 MSG House Show. So, and you can follow me on Twitter at PTBPodfather. And please follow this feed because everything on it's great.
Is great. Matt?
Well, like you mentioned before, I was on Crock and Roll 2 with Sean Kidd, Callum McDougall, and Dr. G. That was a fun episode looking at May 1985 Crockett. Highway to the Impact Zone. Check that out as always. I believe the next episode should be out where we looked at episode 5 and pay-per-view 102.
Yes.
I was on that with Lewis Maynard's pinch hitting for Ben Locke, and of course the hosts Logan Crosland and Jacob Williams. So check that out. And on my show, Piece of the Action over on the Pop feed, my last episode was with Ben Locke, where we watched Speed. And on the September episode, my guest will be, perhaps you've heard of Drew Wardlaw, I think is how you pronounce that. Drew
Never heard of
Wardlaw.
him.
Are you guys familiar with Drew? I hope he's good. I mean, he seems like a nice guy. So
He's a dud.
We'll give it a shot. And we will be watching Commando. So I am very much looking forward to that. So check that out in September. And you can follow me on Twitter at msouza1991.
Be careful. He may want to switch to the first episode of Nitro, because he likes white shirts with no collars. Just let you know.
Why are we so mean to poor Drew?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said himself.
And he's ordering nachos.
What do you got, Drew?
You can follow me on Twitter at _burning spirits. I'm recording a new GWCW Pod Blast tomorrow with Ryan Everett. We are going to be looking at Ric Flair as a tag team wrestler.
Oh, different.
Yeah. So that should be, we're going to look at some mid-90s Ric Flair tag team matches. Should be pretty cool. And I will also I am crossing my fingers for the return of Jordan to You Don't Know Billy Jack. So we should have a new Billy Jack episode very shortly as well.
Great.
And you can find both of those on PTB and Wrestling feed, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Do you have a Twitter account you'd like to promote?
Yeah, I do. I said it. _burning spirits.
You did. All right. Good job. I was listening. I was ordering a taco.
I was ordering tacos.
Yeah. All right. So I have a litany of things. I've been super busy with podcasting. We've already talked about a couple of things. Something else right here on the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed. There should be a new episode of Talking WCW, Scott's favorite show. We're going to be talking about the Giant. So I think everybody probably already knows one of the matches that are going to be on that show. But look to see what the boys picked. I have a guest appearance with Andy on Laugh-In Theater, I believe is what we're doing, for Office Space. So check that out. On the North-South Connection podcast feed, I have a couple shows over there. One is called TNA Never Dies. One is called The Extreme Three-Way Dance. Check out both of those. I'm guest starring. That sounds weird. I'm going to be a guest on Jake Williams' Ruthlessly Aggressive podcast too. And I guess I could just go ahead and make a big announcement about a new show over there. Tim, my podcasting soulmate, and I, we enlisted the help of Sean Kidd to get back into a little bit of comic podcasting. So we kind came up with an idea for a show that's a little bit different than just a straight like comic book review show. Um, what we've decided to do is look at a specific story arc, pick out the superhero, and then discuss their mental health issues. So the name of the show is called Shrink Wrapped: The Psychology of Superheroes. Um, we've recorded our first episode. It should be out right now, and it's different. It's sort of experimental. So anybody with any interest in comic book heroes or mental health issues, please check that one out. Let me know what you think. It's a little bit different and scary to make something like that because we sort of flip the format a little bit. So I hope everybody likes it. Tweet me, let me know. I'm at Jenny Position on Twitter. You can also check out my podcast feed. It's called The Jenny Position. Bunch of great shows over there too. There should be a Talking Pop. There should be a new The Journey Through Infinity, Scott, where we talked about the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
Lots of these on my
Lots of
shows.
these.
So it's a lot. Um, hopefully there's something for somebody in all of this crap that I'm doing. So anyway, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time. Jenny and the Gems.
Now SummerSlam is coming to the home of Bill and Beer and many other Pistons who are really gonna cheer. When Big Fat Yokozuna